An extraordinary development as sneaky Prince Harry sent a grovelling letter to war veterans who were participating in a celebration of 80 years since the end of the Second World War. What does Harry know about wars ending? This is a guy that waged a war against his own family. Now, following the ceremony, which was very dignified, partly because Harry wasn't there with his extraordinary ego, he asked a friend to lay a wreath of poppies and to submit a personal letter. And he did this after the king, the queen, and the media had departed. Some would call this discretion, but I would call it underhanded. Now, Team Sussex have tried to claim that this is an example of Harry basically behaving in a really polite, minimal way, doesn't want to dominate anything, doesn't want to get a few headlines off the back of it, not seeking to take any attention away from his father, the queen, or those in attendance. Do me a favour. Harry is the biggest attention seeker in the world. He makes Donald Trump look positively shy. He makes Madonna look like a shrinking violet. He makes Kim Kardashian, with her trips to Paris just for lunch, look almost humble. This letter featured a personal letterhead with an H cipher under a crown signed Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Isn't it funny how he still clings on to those titles, even though he hates the royal family, apparently, and the monarchy, and had such a miserable time as a serving royal? Also ironic that even he's calling himself H now. Meghan calls him H, my husband.
Yes, that's right. I call myself H. I'm my husband. That's my new name. Didn't you know? I'm not Harry anymore, Prince Harry. I'm H, my husband.
So this whole thing is so creepy. I don't like it one bit. First of all, in the letter, he's trying to impress us with his amazing lyrical prose. I doubt that he wrote this letter. I suspect it was a job that was given to AI, to ChatGPT or Grok or one of those little websites, because Harry, the guy doesn't do sentences. He's not a writer. Don't tell me that he wrote Spare, right? He sketched out a couple of ideas for Spare using a crayon and a couple of basic illustrations. That will be about it. So he tries to impress us with his lyrical prose that I doubt he wrote, because he's also not clever. The guy's not Brain of Britain, let me tell you. He's a couple of sheep short of a group of sheep. Here we go. He says, he talks about the day the guns fell finally silent. Yes, the day the guns fell finally silent. If only Harry fell finally silent. If only the guns fell finally silent. William Shakespeare, eat your heart out. Poor old William Shakespeare, the bard, is up there in heaven going, my goodness, I could never write something so excellent, something so loquacious. The day the guns fell finally silent. Humpy dumpy dumpy dump, Prince Harry, world's least happy millionaire. He recognises the men and women who fought in the forces, stressing their grit, unity and fight. What does Harry know about unity? This is a guy that split his family down the middle. He describes the unforgiving terrain, long separation from home, and the enemies determined to last. Yeah, well, enemies determined to last sounds a bit like my husband. Because be clear, Meghan Markle is a clear and present danger to the royal family. She is the enemy of the royal family. And that's why I don't think Charles should grant Harry a special audience. I don't think there should be a reunion. Because if Harry's in, that opens the door to Meghan's return. She's like kryptonite for the royal family. She's caused so much damage. I honestly think it's her ambition to completely destroy the British monarchy. And you know what? She's halfway there. And the person that's helping her is Prince Harry, who is her useful idiot. When they divorce, the Mark Dolan show is the first show in the world to have placed Harry and Meghan on 24/7 divorce watch. I say that with no pleasure, but it's going to happen because she's pathological. When they do divorce, Harry will regret it. Oh, I'm really sorry, Dad. It seemed to have destroyed the monarchy. I'm really sorry about that. Whoopsie daisy. Whoopsie doopsie doopsie daisy. Daisy. It'll be too late then. The damage will be done and he will have been her useful accomplice. So that's ridiculous that he talks about unity. And also, how ironic that he talks about long separation from home. This is a guy that chose to leave his own home and move across the world to North America, which is a lovely place. The Mark Dolan show's just come back from the United States. Who knows? Maybe one day we will relocate the show there. Maybe we'll do the show every day from New York or from Los Angeles or Yosemite. We could do it from anywhere. We could go to Wyoming. We could do it from Sydney, Australia. How about that? What's not to like? We could do it in Auckland. We could do it. There's so many places. Do you know where we could go? We could go to Johannesburg, Joburg. So many viewers in South Africa. Do you know that? Crazy number of viewers in South Africa. So he talks about separation from home. Does he not see the irony? No, he doesn't, because he has the self-awareness of a dead spider. The unforgiving terrain, long separation from home, enemies determined to last. He then had the cheek and to mention and pay credit to his grandfather, Prince Philip. He said, today's generations, including himself, live in freedom because of the sacrifice of others. And he gives a special shout out to Prince Philip. How dare he invoke the memory of Prince Philip? Because if Prince Philip knew what Harry had done to the family in his absence, since he shuffled off this mortal coil, he would be boiling with rage. Because Philip did not take any nonsense. He didn't take any prisoners. He didn't suffer fools gladly. And Harry was such a traitor to the cause. And do you know why Philip would be so angry? How dare Harry mention Prince Philip? Because if Prince Philip knew how Harry had treated his beloved wife, Elizabeth, forget it. Game over. I honestly think that if Philip had been alive and witnessed this disloyalty and betrayal, and if Philip had been in the same room as Harry, I don't think Prince Philip could have been held responsible for his own actions. I think he could have literally grabbed Harry by the lapel, maybe by the throat, frankly, and demonstrated the extraordinary physical strength and murderous prowess that Philip had. Philip was a tough guy in the military. And if you were the enemy combatant, then Prince Philip was going to take you down, and he was going to take you down to Chinatown, which is a region of Western cities where they have East Asian cuisine and a concentration of Chinese residents called Chinatown. And that's where he would take them down to. So it is the biggest cheek, what we call in England, brass neck, right? Thick skin, the totally ignorant, blind spot, rude, obnoxious, entitled to mention Prince Philip. Even Charles didn't mention Prince Philip because King Charles is discreet, and he doesn't make it all about himself and his family. It was about the veterans celebrating 80 years of peace. But oh no, Harry decides to play the Philip card. Philip could not be held responsible for his own actions if he was in the same room as Harry now. Because remember, William and he had a bit of a punch up at Nottingham Cottage that Harry was at the wrong end of, because William is tough. He's a tough guy. I mean, I would never advocate violence on the Mark Dolan show. It's never a solution. But men are men, and these things happen. But the betrayal of Elizabeth is something that Philip would never have forgiven. He would hate Harry now. And I don't use the hate word very often or very willingly, but I do think he would have total contempt for his grandson. And I think he'd cut him off. It's funny, isn't it? How Harry waited to publish Spare after the passing of Philip. Isn't that interesting? And making all the accusations about the royal family being racist, all the rest of it. A complete coward. So he then goes on to say in this letter, this sneaky letter, that the veteran story must never be forgotten, and signs off with the deepest respect, thank you. What does he know about respect? He knows nothing about respect. How can you have any respect if you've written a book about the royal family where you just say that they're the worst, most awful people and pretty much destroyed the institution? How can you do that? He knows nothing about respect. And here's the thing about the veterans, right? In their 80s and their 90s. Do they really need to hear from Prince Harry, the world's least happy millionaire, and someone who has provably damaged the United Kingdom? Prince Harry has hurt Britain. He has hurt us. Prince Harry has hurt Britain. He's damaged our reputation. He's dragged us through the mud. He said the media is racist, and horrible and obnoxious and prejudicial and absolute nonsense. We invented the free press, and Fleet Street is a source of great pride to me. The seekers of truth and justice, where would we be without our newspapers? Well, Harry wants to sue them every 10 minutes because he doesn't like accountability. He's part of the rich elite who want to be protected from scrutiny. Well, not on my watch, not on the watch of the Mark Dolan show. We're hearing from the Sussex camp that the reason why he wrote this, well, I shall reveal all. You won't believe this. Straight after a brief word from the sponsors of the Mark Dolan show. Are you sick of biased news? Well, so am I. And that's why every morning, with my big cup of decaf in my Father's Day mug that I actually bought for myself, I read Ground News. It shows how stories are covered differently by the left, the right, and the centre. Take this one, for example, President Donald Trump's tariff crusade. Some outlets say that he's mad and is wrecking the economy. Others say that he's standing up for American jobs and will triumph. Well, Ground News shows both sides and lets you decide, because it turns out you've got a brain! Who knew? So try Ground News. Go to ground.news/Dolan or click the link below. You will get a 40% off discount from the Vantage plan. 40% off for the plan that I use for unlimited access. It is a game-changing way to consume the news. And more importantly, it will make you sound very clever at dinner parties. Ground News is subscriber funded. No billionaire overlords pulling the strings. Just the unvarnished truth from every angle. What's not to like? That is ground.news/Dolan. I'll drink to that. We're hearing from Team Sussex in relation to this sneaky letter that was written that, and I quote in regard to Prince Harry, service remains his brand. I beg your pardon? Self-service, maybe. Now, this was a big royal day, and of course, Harry had to be part of it. The King and Queen led the official VJ80 commemorations by linking himself to this same event. Even hours later, it's quite clear that Harry knew what he was doing. He was making sure that his name would sit in the same news cycle as his father's. Harry may attack the media and sue them all the time. By the way, he always loses. He's currently on the hook for $3 million from lost court cases. Yikes! $3 million he had to pay back for the renovations to Frogmore Cottage. No more book deals, no TV shows. The Netflix gig, it's not a deal at all. It's a divorce agreement between Netflix and the Sussexes. So, but notwithstanding Harry's bitter rage against the media, he understands how it works and he loves to manipulate it himself. Don't forget that it was his PR machine that claimed that when he was in New York, he was part of a near catastrophic car chase. In New York, a city known for its 24/7 gridlock. Make it make sense. But that's Harry. So Harry knows what he's doing. He does this letter, right? And it's a little bit like, you know, when someone does an apology and they say it's sorry but not sorry. When they say, oh, I'm sorry if my comments offended you. That's not an apology. An apology is I'm sorry and I won't do it again. The apology is not I'm sorry but, okay? The word sorry is negated by the word but, if it ever follows that word. Okay, sorry is unequivocal, unqualified, and unconditional. And so there's Harry leaving the letter after the thing is finished, right? He's like,
Oh, the Queen's gone, my evil stepmother, and my father, who wasn't a very good father, Charles, he's gone as well, and the media have gone, so I'll just sneak in and put this letter there just to demonstrate what a nice person I am.
It's like a little humble brag. You know, it's when people say, oh, the traffic to my ski chalet was a nightmare today. Right? The reason why they told you that, they don't care about the traffic. They need you to know that they have a ski chalet in Switzerland. Oh, the traffic in Switzerland near my ski chalet worth $5 million was really bad today. It's a humble brag. It's when you introduce a bit of information amid a different context so that the message lands. That's how it works, baby. And Harry is a master at that. He's a master manipulator. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He's making sure that his name fits in the news cycle. He knows there's going to be headlines. So the idea that he did it afterwards is meaningless. In fact, it would be more open if he'd done the letter at the time when everyone was there, because then he wouldn't be doing this pretend thing. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. So that's what he's done. And also, he's using Prince Philip as a sort of clever mechanism because it grounds him in Windsor history, you see. He is using the memory of Prince Philip and he's allying himself to the memory and legacy of Prince Philip and saying,
I'm part of that. And I'm sort of Prince Philip as well, really. He's my grandfather. We're like one of the same. We're both war heroes.
I don't think so. Harry was on a passenger in a helicopter for about 11 minutes in Afghanistan when he was pulled straight back. 2 short tours does not make a war hero, let me tell you, especially when there's a ring of steel around you as the grandson of the Queen at the time. So he's attaching himself to the military history of the family and the genuine heroics of Prince Philip. And he's playing on an intergenerational link that, connects him to Charles and then to his father, Philip. He's reminding everyone that Prince Philip is my grandfather. Well, I'm sorry, big guy, but you've walked away from your family. You've made your bed. You're going to have to lie in it. Also, using Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex branding, the royal cipher. This is a deliberate stylistic choice. It projects royal authority at a time when critics often argue that he abandoned those trappings. It's also a not so subtle reminder to both the public and the palace, I'm still Prince Harry. I am still Duke of Sussex. It's his own little pathetic mic drop.
Yeah, man, I'm still Prince Harry, still Duke of Sussex. Ho, world's least happy millionaire. Humpy dumpy dumpy dum, with my terrible life in California.
He's positioning himself as dutiful, not disruptive. But the fact that the wreath and the letter were laid after the king had left allows him to claim humility. But it also neatly avoids being excluded from the guest list. He attaches himself to the day without forcing an invite. It's a stroke of genius, really. He comes across as thoughtful, deferential, not stealing anyone's thunder. That is a PR repair strategy after years of quite rightly being painted as a disruptive, spoiled so-and-so. It's also ironic, by the way, because this is probably revenge for 2020, when Harry asked for a wreath to be laid at the cenotaph on his behalf, and deliciously the palace refused, because at that point he'd left, we'd had Megxit, they were in North America, I think in Canada at the time, beautiful country, Canada, which there were so many viewers to the Mark Dolan show in Canada, and I have to come to Canada. What a beautiful country, great people. With Quebec in the middle. What a beautiful, well, not quite in the middle, but this is a pocket of France in Canada. Bonjour, comment ça va? Est-ce que tu as mangé aujourd'hui? Est-ce que tu as faim? Oui. Nous pouvons jouer au football ensemble, pourquoi pas? Et puis, nous pouvons aller à l'hôpital avec la femme malade. Elle a température, c'est pas bien. Elle a la vomitation continuellement pendant la nuit. Folks, we don't have time for this. There is no time for these war stories. In 2020, Harry asked for a wreath to be laid at the cenotaph on his behalf. The palace refused, which was a thing of beauty. This time, he goes around the system with his own cipher, his own friend doing the bidding. This is him saying, look, I can still play the royal role, even if you don't sanction it. That's why I think Harry's so dangerous. I don't think that if Charles struck a deal with Harry, that he would necessarily stick to it. I think it would all be more material for Spare 2, because the couple need the money. And I also think that he's unpredictable and mercurial and unhinged. I think Harry's lost the plot. He's not a well bunny. And I just think he's a liability. I really do. For example, that BBC interview after the court case, his aides were not expecting all these truth bombs, and they weren't expecting a long interview. They thought it'd be 5 minutes of him saying, I'm really annoyed I lost. But no, instead, he claims it was an establishment stitch-up, making himself sound like a conspiracy theorist, and essentially granted a death sentence on his father by saying, I don't know how long he's got left. It's also Harry reclaiming ceremonial space, which could be seen as re-auditioning for relevance. Basically, he won't give it up. You see, he thought he wanted to leave, but in the end, he didn't. He didn't really want to leave. And of course, deep down, he regrets it. So there you go, folks. It is pretty wild, but that is Harry. I've got some more wild news for you. It is brutal. Before that, speaking of brutal, Meghan Markle, my husband. Didn't you know I'm not Meghan Markle anymore? I'm Meghan Sussex. Meghan Sussex. Meghan Markle is furious with the world's biggest celebrity, Taylor Swift. And the reason why is because Meghan announced season 2 of her awful Netflix show, With Love Meghan, just moments before Taylor Swift announced her new album, which was around the same time. So Meghan thought that she could dominate the news cycle for a couple of days with the horrific, long-feared announcement that season 2 was coming. By the way, it isn't season 2. It's a further 8 episodes. All 16 were recorded in a block, which is why the show is going to be horrific, because it was all made at one time before Meghan realised how badly she came across. So we're going to have more car crash moments. The Mark Dolan Show will be doing a full report on every single episode. Don't worry about that. But anyway, so it's not a recommission. It was just the second half of the established season that had already been shot. So that's fine. So she announces With Love Meghan is coming back. And hours later, Taylor Swift, the biggest star in the world, announces her new album. Meghan Markle, furious about Taylor Swift. And there is now a feud between the two. But I would say a feud, except I'll correct that because I'm not sure that Taylor Swift even knows who Meghan Markle is. Taylor Swift is a glittering global superstar, a lyrical and musical genius. And Meghan Markle is not even fit to plug in her microphone, let alone compete with her. Taylor Swift with a genuine talent, a genuine gift, giving something positive to the world. Meghan Markle, invective, poison, toxicity. My husband and I. So, Meghan's furious with Taylor Swift. Major beef. And Meghan loves to pick fights with celebrities. Don't forget that she fell out with Gwyneth Paltrow when Gwyneth Paltrow made an excellent and hilarious parody video of With Love Meghan. But unfortunately, Gwyneth had her collar felt by Team Sussex. There was an awful backlash. And unfortunately, Gwyneth buckled under the pressure and did an apology video with Meghan. It was awful. It was like a hostage video. It was so bad. Anyhow, so Meghan does like her feuds with celebrities. Of course, don't forget, she ended the mainstream TV career of Piers Morgan, who hosted a major talk show in the UK, a breakfast show, GMB, Good Morning Britain. And he was pivotal on that show. And he dared to say the day after the Oprah interview, I don't believe a word that woman says, which is true. And she wrote to the boss of the TV network and she got him fired. So she likes to pick fights with celebrities and she likes to win. Well, she's not going to beat Taylor Swift, who is already, as a young woman, already a billionaire. So Meghan's post was, the best moments are made to be shared. With Love, Meghan returns August 26th on Netflix. And it won't feature my husband. Later that day, and so Meghan's like excited, buzzing about the noise that she's created. Hours later, Taylor's boyfriend, Travis Kelce, and his brother, Jason Kelce, revealed that they were to be joined by a special guest on their podcast, New Heights. Well, so this is hours after Meghan's little announcement. Taylor racks up 167 million views in 24 hours when she announces her upcoming album, The Life of a Showgirl. So 11 people saw Meghan's little video about, we love Meghan, flower sprinkles. Those flower sprinkles, by the way, in my opinion, they're toxic, hallucinogenic, and people aren't supposed to eat flowers. They're not. I know you got courgettes and stuff, but please, don't be eating flowers. So, flower sprinkles, lavender towels. I like to make them wet and then put them in the refrigerator. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm unhinged. So, Taylor racks up, because we're close. I call her Taylor. We're like that. The TS. Taylor Swift racks up 160 million views in 24 hours. Such is the excitement of her new album, The Life of the Showgirl. and it completely destroys Meghan's publicity blitz. But yet Meghan thinks, first of all, how dare she get angry with Taylor Swift? I mean, it's silly to get angry with someone that doesn't know who you are. Taylor Swift, right? Can we compare the achievements of Meghan Markle? So Taylor Swift is the most awarded musical artist in the history of popular music. She's received 40 American Music Awards, 49 Billboard Music Awards, 30 MTV VMA Awards, iHeartRadio, 4 times Grammy Album of the Year, a record. Currently holds the most Song of the Year nominations at the Grammys. Global Recording Artist of the Year for the IFPI. I could go on. The Eras Tour grossed over $2 billion. 10 million people turned up to hear her music. Biggest tour in history. She's beaten the Rolling Stones. She's beaten the Beatles. She's beaten Sir Elton John. Oh, I just can't wait to be king. No one can do this. No one can be there. No one can stop that. No one can see here. Free to run around all day. We'll do it all my way. Okay. By the way, The Lion King, what a soundtrack. We haven't got time for this. Right. She was named Time Magazine's Person of the Year. There isn't time to tell you the records that she's broken. And she's worth $1 billion. She's got an amazing boyfriend called Travis Kelce, who's the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. So she's got an incredible career, an incredible bank balance, and an incredible talent. And Meghan is comparing herself to her and daring to be angry with her for publicizing her incredible work. So I've just listed all of Taylor Swift's achievements, which, by the way, I could do an hour on everything she's achieved. And then we've got Meghan, who held a box on a game show in a skimpy dress, even though apparently she's a feminist warrior or something. But there you go. She wore a tiny dress, revealing a lot of her body, and allowed herself to be subjectified for money. That's fine. I mean, I'd wear a tiny dress on TV for cash. And I'm very lucky I've got the legs for it. You're welcome. So she did that game show. There are lots of actresses that wouldn't do that. You're like, I'm not taking that gig. Meryl Streep, I doubt, ever agreed to be on a game show in a skimpy dress. You're entitled to. I'm not saying don't wear a skimpy dress on a game show. It's fine. Do it. But don't then claim to be some kind of feminist super warrior. Okay. Bigging up women and empowerment and all of that. And then flashing chunks of your body for dollars. Okay, I'm sorry, but I mean, maybe you might disagree with me in the comments there, but I'm telling you you can't have it both ways. It's like the actresses, that some actresses will get off all their clothes just at the blink of an eye, and others will say, I'm not going to do that. I'm a serious actress. I'm not going to do that. It's about choices, isn't it? I have to tell you. So Meghan she opened the box on some game show in a skimpy outfit, and she had a part in a TV series called Suits in a fictional legal firm. And that wasn't Hollywood. It was recorded in Canada, which is no bad thing, but it was a low budget affair, especially at the beginning, because that's why they didn't do it in California. So she gets a part in a TV show. She's on a game show, made a couple of like tiny movies that did really badly. That's it. So Taylor Swift, she ain't. And she's in no position to complain. Okay, folks, we will have to leave it there. It has been such a joy to chat. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. And I cannot wait to see you for the next video. Don't forget, we've got a new time of publishing, which is 6 p.m. UK, which is 10 a.m. in the West Coast of the United States. And, my mathematics, I think it's 1 p.m. US Pacific time. You'll work it out. You're in America. You know what you're doing. And it's the middle of the night in Australia and down under in New Zealand. In the middle of the night. Can't wait to see you for the next one. Stay awesome. Love you loads. Bye for now.